Let's begin our pattern creation with the full drop repeat. This is the classic foundation of pattern design. It's simple, it's clean, it's a great starting point if you're just getting started with patterns. It consists of identical motifs placed in rows and columns, creating a uniform grid-like effect. So it's great for a ton of different types of designs, from minimalist to intricate. So let's dive in to how to create this seamless design.
This is probably the fastest and easiest pattern that you will create. And this is essentially going to be creating a pattern without even realizing how fast you're creating a pattern. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to explore the basics of how the Procreate canvas can work in our benefit as we're making patterns when it comes to their quick lines and utilizing the full canvas. So we'll start off by just creating a canvas, and I'll get into the breakdown of how I like to think about sizing. But for now, let's just open a new canvas. So you're going to go to the plus symbol underneath that in your gallery to make this canvas. In pixels, we'll go 3000 by 3000, and we'll go 300 DPI. Color profile, just make sure you're on sRGB. And create. When we have this open, all we're going to do is fill it with a solid color in the background. It could be any color that you want. I'll just do this pink for now. And once that's filled, we'll go to the arrow icon right here at the top left and tap to select. It's going to select everything on that layer, which happens to be the full layer since we did a color fill. And we're going to go down to rotate 45 degrees, which is under the transform menu here. So rotate 45. When we do that, you'll see that it did come off the canvas, and we want it to just fit to the edges of the canvas. So then we'll go, while it's still selected, fit to canvas right here. That's going to create this diamond shape within our square. We're going to create another layer, and it's going to fill the background. So we'll go to the layers panel, tap the plus symbol, and just drag and drop that layer underneath the color layer that we just had. And I'd fill that with a color that is going to work well with the first color that you chose. I'm feeling pink today, apparently. Okay, now we want to add a little bit of texture to this. So we can go ahead and create a new layer on top of these. So we have our background, our diamond, and then we'll have another. Now, anytime that we create a new layer, it's going to add it to just above whatever layer is selected. So in this case, I'm going to go to my topmost layer and then tap plus, and that's going to put that layer on top. I'm not naming my layers at this point just because it's such an easy, straightforward pattern. If we have a bunch of layers, I would start to name them just to clean it up for my my organization. But let's go ahead and pick a color that's going to work well against the background and against the foreground. It's okay if it's not super contrasted on one, like white would work. And if we go to our calligraphy, so let's go over to our calligraphy brushes and select monoline. I'm going to turn this all the way up and see if that's going to be thick enough. Okay, it is. So from here, what I want to have us do here is draw a straight line from this corner to this corner. Now, when that snaps into place here, what I want to do is, just because I drew that line doesn't mean it's that perfect diagonal, because if I was just a little bit above it, it might look to the eye like I'm doing that in a perfect area or in a perfect angle. But if I take my finger while it's still in that quick line and hold it down, see how it snapped into place? It's going to snap in 15-degree increments. So I'm going to let it snap into place so that I have that nice hard angle. And then from there, I can go to the transform tool and make sure that it is perfectly snapped into place. So see how snapping is down here. I'm going to go to snapping, turn snapping on, and then I can pull this and see how it snaps into place. What we're going to want to do is fit to canvas, and then it's going to be perfectly snapped. And after it snaps into place, I'm just going to drag it out so that the rounded areas right here are coming off. And that way it's going to have a seamless lineup. Now we're going to put that on the other side, but this time we don't have to draw it. We can just swipe to the left and duplicate it, tap the transform tool, and then you'll see at the bottom here, under the transform menu, you can flip it horizontally and then deselect it. So now you have that perfect cross, and you don't have to worry about any parts not lining up. We can go ahead and combine our cross here, the X. So you can either tap this layer here to merge down. That's going to combine those two. You can also, I'm going to tap undo. You can also pinch them. That's going to do the same thing to merge those layers together. The pattern tile itself is done at this point. It's so easy. Now that we have our tile, let's watch this repeat. I want to keep these separate just because I like to sometimes go in and change the colors as I'm working. I also like to have the ability to work in multiple colorways. So if I have these layers, rather than flattening them into one layer, I'm going to select them all. So any layer could be selected, and then if you swipe to the right, it'll select it. So when they're all blue, you can then tap group at the top of the layers. Then you'll see this new group. When you have it grouped, we'll go ahead and collapse it so the rest of the layers aren't distracting, and we'll just duplicate this so that we have 4 groups total. So swipe to the left, duplicate till we have 4 groups. Now, this is the fun part because this is where it comes together. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this square and shrink it so that they're in quadrants. There's one here, one here, one here, one here. So we can tap the transform tool, make sure the full group is selected, not just something inside the layers, but the full group. Tap transform. Now, with snapping on, you can drag and drop it. And yes, there's a chance it'll snap well into place. And you see these gold horizontal and vertical lines. That's telling you it's snapping into place. But I'm going to show you more of a foolproof way to do this. So when you tap transform, if you want something to go into a certain direction, in this case, it's going to go to the top left, I can just tap the node in the top left, and I'm just going to go half of this size because I want the square to go into, I want it to be half and then go over into the top left. So it's 3000 by 3000 pixels because that's the size of this canvas. So I'm just going to type in 1500 by 1500 and it's going to snap to the top left since that's what I grabbed. So then I can go to the next layer here, or the next group rather, tap the transform tool, and this time top right. Tap in here, 1500. It pulls up into place there. The next one here, 1500 on the bottom left. Deselect and then go to the next group, last one, bottom right, 1500, and it pulls into place here. Now you can see that you have this perfect repeat. There's no areas that are hard or broken or anything like that. So this is going to ensure you have those nice clean lines. And it is so fun. So that is our warm-up. You now have an argyle pattern that can be repeated over and over and over. And this can get smaller or larger and just keep repeating and repeating. And it is oh so much fun.